Hello, it's David from David Savory Electrical, and today I'm going to do a quick video about PVC conduit, or more specifically, when heavy gauge conduit isn't heavy gauge conduit, and what that means to you as an installer. Specifically, I want to talk about this stuff from Screwfix, or Electric Fix as it is for me, because I hold a business account with them, which means I can use the trade entrance, so I don't have to stand in front of the DIY crowd who don't look through the catalogue, who walk directly up to the counter and start asking questions about what kind of wall plugs they sell. It's a catalogue and counter service, people. You wouldn't do it at Argos. Same rules apply for Toolstation and Screwfix. Anyway, the conduit in question is made by Tower, which is yet another brand snapped up by Schneider, who seem to be buying up all sorts of electrical manufacturers in order to become some kind of omnipresent Borg of the electrical industry, it seems. The Apple of the electrical installation products world, if you will. Now, I quite like Tower kit, but I do believe Screwfix are mis-selling this particular product. You'll notice with the aid of my virtual highlighter here that it is advertised as heavy gauge in the headline and robust heavy gauge in the description. But is it? Is it really? Well, no, it isn't. I'm going to compare this to some conduit from CEF, which is also advertised as heavy gauge, although it may as well be from Edmondson's, Rexel, Denman's, or any of the other dedicated electrical wholesalers, as my experience is that their conduit is all the same and it all meets my requirements for heavy gauge. Looking back at the CEF page, notice that the wall thickness is given as 1.8mm for this stuff. Well, on the Screwfix page under the Q&A section, Schneider themselves have responded to a question on the wall thickness size, and they also claim it to be approximately 1.8mm. Take a look at it end on though. The CEF conduit is on the left, the Screwfix Tower stuff is on the right. The Tower product is ever so slightly thinner, and that makes a big difference, as we'll come to see. So what's my point? Well, I have three grievances to wear about the Tower stuff. Firstly, these goddamn labels. This isn't the only Schneider product where a label is glued on using, I don't know, Impossi Remove 5000, the ultimate industrial adhesive. Schneider also do or did a socket converter which came with a daft red sticker on the front advertising the easy push-on covers, but which itself was a complete bastard to remove, leaving you having to use chemical cleaners to dissolve the sticky residue from the front of this final finish accessory. If you check the reviews for this product on Screwfix, you'll find others who share my frustration on that one. In fact, this particular reviewer is so mad that he's typed so mad with caps lock on, so he must really be pissed. But yeah, look at this shit. I mean, it's infuriating that these barcode labels are so difficult to peel off, and you really can't do it without chemicals, because it's you're either going to end up scratching it up or leaving a residue there. I mean, why don't they make them easy peel? It's infuriating, because if you're trying to do a neat, tidy conduit run, then you've got these labels all over the place, and this stuff is sold in 2-meter length, so any sort of decent size installation, you're going to have an awful lot of labels rather close together, which are going to be difficult to either peel off or to conceal, so that they're out of the way. Yeah, annoying that. Actually, I will waffle a little more on length, seeing as I've now mentioned it, as 2 meters is an unusual size for this kind of product. Everyone else sells their conduit in 3-meter lengths. Now 3 meters is fine for me, as I have a plastic lined pipe carrier on the top of my Transit, which allows me to store and transport 3-meter conduit lengths without it getting bashed or damaged. But those with smaller vehicles may struggle to fit in 3-meter lengths, so 2 meters may be a safer prospect, either for the DIYers or for those sparkers with smaller vehicles. I'll just mention that as an aside. So the sticker bother was bugbear number 1, and my second issue is the way that Screwfix presents this product. We've already seen it promoted as heavy gauge, but look at the feedback here. We've got 4 and a bit stars, and if we scroll down, there's a handful of reviews on the first page, and they're all happy clappy. Everyone is a 5-star fan of this product. Let's click on to page 2 of the reviews. And well, we'll delve into them a little bit and see what people are actually saying for their 5 stars. This was perfect for fitting an oil catch can to my car. Well, okay, so he's not using it as it's as intended by the manufacturer, perhaps. This stuff is great. Builder multi-trade. I don't know why I didn't use them before. I've always used trunking or nails to run CCTV wiring until I came across these. Isn't that typical of a builder, not knowing how to run their cables properly? But never mind. Wiring to sheds, great for running cable to an outside light. Yeah, this is all fine. It's just a 2 meter bit of plastic tube, so they can't get much wrong. Well, okay, we'll come to that in a moment. Now you notice all these reviews are in date order, so it's newest first. So as we keep going down the page, we're going further and further back. We're back to 2015 now. Easy to use, does what it should, very satisfied. Plastics are ideal for outside use. Yes, I'd agree with that. Good quality conduit, good product. These are mainly DIY reviewers, notice, DIY reviews. So perhaps someone or people who aren't necessarily using it in the kind of way that a trade such as myself might use it, and this is where the problem comes in. Fantastic item, perfect to encase exposed surface wiring in the garage. Okay. Blah blah blah, does exactly what it says on the tin. Good strong conduit used for replacing outer barrel of a BB gun. By Souks there. Okay, Souks. I'm not sure the manufacturer intended it for that particular use, so good luck with that. Hope it doesn't explode in your face or anything. It's when we get to page 3 that we start to run into problems. You notice there is still good reviews, and we're still going back in time, 2014, 2013. Oh, we're right back to 2012 here. But when we start getting a bit further down, we start hitting these electrician reviewers, and the reviews start to drop off then. Oh, it doesn't get better than this, says Big Rubber Willie. So he's obviously pleased with his conduit. But here we go, look, trade reviewer, not heavy gauge. What else we got here? I wouldn't recommend buying this item. Conduit kinked on the bend every time. Electrician reviewer. I would not consider heavy gauge, or would not consider this to be heavy gauge. Meh, says the Master Apprentice. This was rubbish, he says. Light gauge, says this electrician reviewer. Look at all these 1-star reviews. Absolute rubbish, as get someone else to do it. My sentiments entirely. Mr. Clunge here is also another 1-star review. But notice these reviews, these are all from newer time periods. 2015 here, 2016, 2018. This is only like 5 months old or something. July 2018. Look at this. And they're all buried at the bottom of page 3 of the reviews. All the more positive reviews are in date order going above this. So they've stuck all these reviews at the bottom. And look at this guy at the very bottom of page 3. DSES Electric. Who's this asshole? 19th of Jan 2015. Advertisers heavy duty but noticeably thinner than what you get from a dedicated electrical wholesaler, says whoever this chap is, but I like his style. I've got to admit, I was a bit unfair here. It's not a 1-star product, but you can't go back and change your reviews, I don't think, once you put one onto Screwfix's website. The reason why this scores so lowly for me here is because on this particular day in 2015 I picked up a load of this stuff from Screwfix to do a little workshop job in a shed. Someone wanted the gun shed converting into this little workshop for their model making. I think he was making model trains or something, and I had a nightmare with this stuff, and I'm going to show you what that nightmare is, because I just couldn't get it bent to how I wanted it, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. But a lot of the reviews here, a lot of the positive reviews aren't even about the product or about how the product is supposed to be used, and a lot of them are about the in-store experience. You get 5 stars and it says staff were friendly, product was great, picked it up in 10 minutes. It doesn't really describe the product, it's more the shopping experience that they're reviewing there. And like I say, you've got a load of reviews from non-electricians, but the ones who are mainly electrician reviewers who are saying that this is a problematic product, like I say, they're all buried at the bottom of page 3, so you've really got to scroll down to find that stuff, and all the happy clappy positive stuff is at the top. Okay, so let's take a look at what the problem is with a physical demonstration, shall we? Okay though, so some of those review comments lead me on to what my third bugbear is with the tower stuff, and that's the fact that it's not particularly heavy duty and doesn't bend properly. And I'm going to demonstrate that. Here is the piece from a normal electrical wholesaler, this particular one from CEF, but it's the same stuff as you get at Denman's, Edmondson's, etc. And I'm going to put a 90-degree bend in it with the aid of my bending spring, which of course stops the thing from kinking and collapsing. So I'm going to shove that in there. I'm going to warm it up a little bit just to make the plastic a bit more pliable. I do like this bit. I'm never sure quite why, but it's very satisfying. Right, and now let's just give that a bit of a bend, and you can see that even with me being not very careful, I can get a clean 90-degree bend. Doesn't look too bad. Let's bring it close to the camera. There we go. It's I don't know how well the camera's going to pick that up, but it's not kinked and it looks okay. And that's the stuff from CEF. Now let's try and do exactly the same thing with the tower stuff. We know it's the tower stuff because there's that bloody label I can't get off. Bending spring in again. Now the bending spring feels a bit looser in there, although it is a heavy duty spring, so it should be 20mm size regardless of which way around we do it. Again, give it a bit of a rub. That nice and warm. And oh dear, look at that. We're not quite at 90 degrees. If I just push it a bit further over and get my springs back out. Herein lies the problem. I'm going to turn the camera light on actually. Let's get some illumination onto the subject here. Now look at that god awful kink. The plastic's just rippled away there, right on the corner. It looks awful. You do see some installations where the installer just sort of leaves that in. We might actually get that on camera. There we go. It's just not great, is it? And that's the problem with this stuff. So it's definitely not heavy duty. Now again, a lot of it's not even 90 degrees, it's still a bit off, but that great big kink there is discoloured. It's gone, it's lost some of the blackness on the corner. It's just not very good. And a lot of the reviews, of course, people aren't doing these bends because they don't have the bending spring, especially the DIYers out there, so they're using inspection bends and that sort of stuff, and that's fine. That's fine if you want to put this together using like the Lego-like parts, if you like, the little connecting pieces that hold everything together, your T-boxes, your inspection bends, that sort of stuff. You can build a conduit installation using all that and just using these as straight pieces, and they're fine for straight pieces. I mean, like I say, I gave it a 1-star review, which it doesn't really deserve, because when used in a straight way, that's fine. But for someone like me who wants to put bends in and wants to minimise the amount of components that make up that conduit installation, this stuff doesn't cut the mustard. So there we have it, a quick cautionary tale on conduit, or at least on the stuff that Screwfix sells, which again isn't a 1-star product, despite the review I myself left several years ago at the end of a frustrating day where it had cocked me up. But I don't want that to happen to anybody else, so if you are on a conduit job where you have to put in your own bends, then don't fall for Screwfix sales blurb. It really isn't the stuff for the job. You need to go to a dedicated electrical wholesaler to pick up the proper heavy duty stuff if you're going to be using a conduit bender to put in your own bends, rather than using things like inspection bends. So I hope that was useful for you, and see you next time.